about net 30?
30 days of the purchase day. All right. Let's come back to that. Let me go through this example, and we'll think about how the math might be slightly different. So we've got 30 days, either from the purchase day or after the 10 days, when we're paying a 1% interest, 1% on that money. Now, is that the same as a 1% loan? Like, what's the interest rate we're paying? What would you say the interest rate we're paying? Is it 1%? Is it more than that? Is it less than that? All right, I'll tell you, maybe I'm asking that in a slightly complicated way, but what I'm getting at is we're essentially paying 1% interest for 30 days. They're paying 1% for 30 days. So if we were to think about that on an annual basis, it would be more than 1%. We're paying 1% per 30-day period.
So the discount after the 10 days then becomes the interest rate per day?
Interest rate per 30-day period.
Per 30 days.
Yes. So we're paying 1% on that money for 30 days. So that might be something on average like a 12% interest loan.
Is that always how this works? Like if you don't pay within the first 10 days, it no longer becomes the discount rate, it becomes the interest rate.
It is what Alexandra and I were talking about. You could look at it either way. You could look at it as I get a discount, or I don't get a discount and I'm paying interest.
I think when we learned it, there was no interest involved.
Yeah.
So it was just discount. That was it. If you didn't do the discount, you paid the whole
Plus there
amount.
was
At
another
the end,
step
that was it.
that maybe.
Okay, so if you're paying the full amount, you need to think critically and say, hey, look, we're paying this full amount, but really what we're doing is we're paying
But
interest.
if you have 30 days to pay it, why would you need
Yeah,
interest after the 30 days?
It was always assumed too that they paid within the 30 days, even if it was after the 10-day
Because
period.
aren't you
it
given
was
a
always
period to pay, and then there's a period to receive the discount, and then after that,
But wait, I think he's saying, so if you're loaning me $200,000, you're paying interest on your $200,000 to your vendor. So he has to pay. I have to pay in that $200,000 I'm paying back.
I
There's
think
interest
that might
built into
understand
it.
because the amount is already at the discount rate, you have to add back the interest to get the original price. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I get it.
So say the original price is this much, $202.20. All right. If you pay within 10 days, I'll give it to you for
Usually
$200,000.
already we discount ourselves usually, but it's already discounted.
Okay. So we'll call the sticker price $202,020. But if you pay today or within 10 days, I'll give it to you for $200,000.
So you're waiving that interest.
Yeah. So if you take the full 30 to pay, then you're not getting a discount. And you could even look at it like, you know what, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to not pay, and I'm going to take out a loan for $2,020, and then I'm going to pay interest on that for the next 30 days. And then I'm going to pay you the full price. Right, Mom?
Question.
Yes.
I understand this. So after the 10 days, you said it's 1% per day for 30 days.
No.
No, 1% per 30 days.
1% per 30 days.
30 days. Okay.
That's
That's
one
one
side.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So your textbook shows a method of calculating the nominal interest rate. And we already said, as Mallory pointed out, you're paying 1% on that 30-day period, which might come out to something close to 12% per year. But you may need to figure out exactly what the nominal rate is. Your textbook has a formula, which I'm going to show you. And then we're going to talk about it in a slightly different way to flesh that out. To calculate the nominal interest rate you are paying by foregoing this discount, and are you with me, Alexander? That you are essentially paying interest by foregoing a discount. You take the discount percentage, which is the 1%, divided by 1 minus the discount, times 365, divided by days taken, minus the discount period. So, that equates to the discount in this 110 net 30 is 1%. And 1 minus the discount gives us 99. Just the way mathematically that works out. Take 365 days, divided by the days taken, which I claim is 40, but there's some discussion about that, minus the discount period of 10, which gives us 30. And we are paying 1.01% over 12.166 periods. And it's going to give us a nominal interest rate of 12.29. Did everyone see how they did that? And we knew this before we started these calculations. We said, hey, you're paying 1% for a 30-day period, so you've got to be paying somewhere around 12% on an annual basis. So does 12% sound like a high amount? Does that sound like a loan that is efficient? Sounds good?
No.
No. Yeah, it's like so by foregoing these discounts, it's like we're paying a 12% loan. We don't want to be paying a 12% loan, hopefully. So instead of saying, oh, we'll just pay after the 30-day period is up, we want to calculate these numbers and say this is just not advantageous for us. I know my finance professor told us we want to decrease working capital and increase free cash flow, but it's not worth it. In this case, let's go talk to the inventory folks about decreasing inventory. Let's go talk to the sales folks about calling up those deadbeat customers who are not paying. Let's explore those opportunities, because this is too high. Perhaps that might be your analysis. Does this all make sense? I'm out of the question.
Silly, but I just 1 minus 0.01 equals 89.
So it's 1 minus 0.0, 1 minus, I guess, 1%, 1 minus 1%.
0.01 equals.
Well, we could do 0.99, in which case this would be different, right? In which case we would be dealing in.
It goes into 1.0.
Oh, I see. So I guess it's.
So the discount percentage, we could put this in percentage. We could put this in 0.01 if we wanted to.
Okay, yeah.
All right. All right. Any questions before we move on? Now what we're going to do for the next few slides is just look at this same example, but I really like the way that your textbook explained this, kind of in an intuitive size of accounts payable. So we're going to come up with this same answer, but just a different way. But please don't get confused by the example I'm going to take you through. I just thought it was an effective way to look at accounts payable. So we're going to look at the balance sheet and come up with the same answer a different way. That's all we're going to be doing in the next 10 minutes. So let's look at some trade calculations. And there's an example of this in your textbook that you can look at, but we'll do this one in class as well. So our annual net purchases, if we want to look at it, the amount we would be purchasing if we paid within 10 days, $200,000 for this company. And we can calculate out a daily net purchase. We could also calculate how much our gross purchases would be if we did not take the discount. And that would be $202,020. So the important points here, if we took the discount, we're paying $200, which has a certain daily rate. And if we don't take the discount, we're paying $202.20. Let's think about what that means. The company buys $200,000 worth of equipment, cash price. We must pay an extra $200,000, $2,020 if we don't pay within 10 days. So we think of this as a financing cost. So even though it could be explained as a discount, we need to be smart about it and think, well, it's kind of like a financing cost to allow us to increase our accounts payable. Because my finance professor told us we want to increase accounts payable. But we need to think about if it's worth it. And we compare that with the cost of a bank loan. And we came up with 12%, and we said, it sounds a little bit high. All right, so our payables level, this was our daily net costs. $547. And if we wait 10 days, then our accounts payable would be $5,479. So if we waited 10 days and then paid every time, and we did this in a constant loop, constant cycle, then this would be our level of accounts payable. Is everybody with me there? All right. On the other hand, if we waited, I'm going to have to crack open the textbook. I'm sure I'm clear on this, but I think this is the way it works out. Then you have an additional 30 days after that.
It might just be a stipulation that's put in where in some cases it's within or after. So
Okay.
tax might be saying it in some circumstances.
Okay, so suppose we have that full 40 days to let those daily purchases accumulate. And so we're going to have 40 times the daily cost, $21,918. That's what our accounts payable would be. And I like the way your textbook broke this down. It said some of that is free, some of that you're paying interest for. Total $21,980. The amount that's free is the $54.79. That's 10 days worth of accounts payable. The costly is the difference. This extra $16,000 that's sitting in your accounts payable, you're paying 12 and change percentage points a year for that. Does everyone see how I did that? So we've got total of 40 days, because assume for right now that you have 40 days before you actually need to pay, 40 days worth of daily sales in our accounts payable, which gives us an accounts payable of $21,918. Some of that is free, and that's the 10-day period that we have. Some of that we're paying interest on, and that's the $16,000. And in order to get that much more, to increase our accounts payable by $16,000, we are paying what we'll call a finance charge of $2,020. So we're paying a finance charge of $2,020 to receive that extra $16,000 that we can let sit in our accounts payable because that's advantageous for us. So we divide the finance charge by the amount of costly trade credit, and we come up with the same number, 12.29%. Makes sense? So it's the same formula we used, or same answer we came up with before, but I just like the way that your textbook spelled that out for us. It said by increasing our accounts payable, we're paying that finance charge, the difference between those two. I believe on your quiz there is one question like this. What I suggest you do is use this formula and just calculate the answer that way. But I hope you enjoyed those last few slides because I think that sheds some light on the intuition of what's happening there. Question, Mel?
I want to understand it better, but I'm just not sure about the payables. Is that from the company side or is this from the customer?
So this is when Bill, we're the company.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I understand why it gets confusing. Because we're the company and we sell stuff to customers.
Yeah.
But this is when we buy stuff from our suppliers.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm selling cars to customers, but Bill is the one supplying those
Like
cars.
the parts, like the tires or the transmissions and stuff like that. So they have to pay me, the supplier of the transmission, and I guess whatever the terms of, they pay me in 5 days, it's no interest. Pay me in 15 days, it's 5% interest. Or 30 days, it's But I guess it will be in the terms of the conditions that the supplier has with the the purchaser has with the vendor.
Yeah, and the name of the game, Mallory, is we want to wait as long as possible before we pay Bill, right?
Okay.
Where is our cash conversion cycle? Yes. Yeah, we want to wait as long as possible before we pay Bill, because that means less time that our money is tied up, less time that we're without money. So again, we're selling cars to customers, but we're getting supplied from Bill, and we want to take as much time as possible before we pay him. He's giving us 10 days for free. All right, you pay me for 10 days. You pay me in 10 days, I'll give you a cash discount. You only pay $200,000.
$5,000 is what you're saving.
So the way that example was broken down is $5,000 was 10 days worth of stuff we buy from Bill.
Okay.
Okay, and if we pay after the 10th day, that's what our accounts payables level is going to be at. It's going to be at $5,000. If we pay 30 days after that, then our accounts payable is going to be how high?
16,000. Well, you said with the 40 altogether is the 21,000.
Yes, that's going to be 21,000. So there's two parts. There's the 5,000 that we get essentially for free, and then there's the 16,000 that we have to pay an interest of 12% on. And remember, the whole name of the game tonight is getting our working capital lower. And one way we can get our working capital lower is by getting our payables higher. So we like the fact that we have our payables higher.
Because you're getting more interest from those.
We're
Getting that money.
We're waiting longer before we pay you. And the longer we wait before we pay you, the less time our cash is tied.
But then also, how does that look toward the? Because I mean, for us, like, you buy a car today, and the bank, and I'm the bank, I pay you the contract tomorrow. But our rules with Nissan is that the dealership has 2 days from the date of funding or 10 days from the date of sale to pay us back. So if they go over those 10 days, it actually, they have to pay more.
Interest, right?
But the also thing is also goes against them as a discrepancy. So when we go to renew their line of credit, their discrepancies are higher.
Yeah.
And we will charge them a higher interest rate because they are poor performance with us.
Yes. So we definitely don't want to do that. We don't want to go beyond the credit period. All we're asking in this situation is the credit period worth it? Dun, 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 dun. So this extra 30 days, right? Is it what is that costing us? Well, we calculated that it's costing us 12%. To Bill's point, we definitely don't want to go beyond that 30 days because they'll say they don't even pay after the 30-day period. So I will be around to talk about this more or answer any questions about homework or last week's quizzes or this week's quizzes. Next week we will do a review. I have created the exam. It'll be, as I mentioned, all online. So I'll see you next week for the review, and then you will take the exam in the comfort of your own home or in the comfort of...
When is that going to be opened up? Like, when are you going to open that?
I have it set right now. I'll open it up a 24-hour period 2 weeks from today, Thursday, 12:01 a.m. until 11:59 p.m.
So you'll have it open Thursday morning to Friday night, or
Thursday morning to Thursday night.
Okay.
From stroke of midnight on Thursday.
So you can be up at midnight to take the exam?
No, you don't have to take it. You can take it within that 24-hour period.
So, yeah.
Does that work for everyone?
And how long is the test? Like,
You'll have 3 hours to take the test, but you won't need 3 hours. There's not. I think there's 22 questions.
Okay. And I guess in the same format that our previous tests are in, where it's kind of multiple choice. We're referring back to our notes and the book. And
All open book.
Okay.
You just can't text each other and say what's the answer number 4. Or ask anyone else.
Okay.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that discussion. Next week, and if you don't need to come to the review next week, you feel like you're good, don't feel obligated for my sake. We'll just go through each of the sections, review what I think is important. I'll pull up all the quizzes, go through them quickly, see if anyone has any questions, and work out whatever problems we need to. All right. You have a good night.
I was gonna give this to you because I got break even for
I was awake from work and I just got back this afternoon. Oh yeah.
I think you were on the
Yeah,
on
Thank you.
So, would you take this if, you know, like, you feel like it needs to be changed and you find there to change it, see if you remember it looks good to you, we'll keep it, and then we can finish the rest of the
Mike, have you heard of that, the trade credit, that 110 net 30? You know how it works?
It's not gonna be
If it looks good, then you know how we had to go and you agree on the air was. We
Alright.
figured it out,
That's
how we figured it out.
part.
She said, why don't we just
I'll
take
figure
a
it out.
percentage of, like, so if Boeing instead of
Right, so next
of
time.
our expenses dividing it by how many
What's that?
total airplanes there are, why don't we take a percentage of
Help me out.
Boeing, oh, really, oh, no, you don't need to have the whole. Which
Well, I
1%,
wanna
so we like took 1%
Yeah, I
of each
want to
round.
give you something because you can help me out with your
Anyway,
purchase.
it worked.
So,
So, I was just gonna look into make sure breaking
I do
is
like
good, if it's good, maybe she'll ask me.
Well, thank you.
You're
welcome. Thank you for all your help. Thank you, and you know, like I said, you got my card, give me a call.
Keeping up with it, and then I'll ask.
I think the key thing is to,
Yeah, drill a rec. So 210 net 30.
I was gonna show you.
You've got a good record.
210 net 30.
She
Sorry,
came up
what
with
you- sorry about the-
16,000. You could just get it by doing 30 days instead of 40.
Yeah, you just eliminate a step,
Really
So
support
if you
that.
just took- instead of breaking this down, the 30 is giving you
Yeah, but I would
cost.
get all the
the cost
applications
free
in now,
credit by just
send them
doing
out,
it.
so you take it in
So,
June.
The
You
way
wanna be
if you
considered for
include
this
it, it
year.
would just break down
Coming
like
late.
your free trade
Most of them I
credit
think will
or
go
what
for
you're
it.
saving.
Some of them
But
may not.
essentially you only need
There
the
may be a kind of deadline, but in
cost
this
free
case,
credit, that's why.
all schools are required like to establish.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Application
I mean, either way, you can say it is
I noticed that, yeah.
within 40,
Yeah.
but then there's just one
All
extra
right,
step.
see you, see you, take care, bye now.
Or just introduce the formula too.
Yeah, this is simpler. It's simpler.
Yes.
But this is.
All right. Good luck with your team project.
So are you in, an operations management class?
Well,
Probably not